Welcome to the Missouri Valley Football Teleconference. My name is Bonnie, and I will be your conference operator today. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you would like to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. Mr. Kern, please go ahead, sir.
Thanks, Bonnie, and let's go ahead and get started. We do have our first coach on the line, Eric Wolford of Youngstown State. The Penguins ranked number 22 at home this week, facing Indiana State and Terre Haute this weekend. Morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on your comeback win at Southern last week.
Thank you very much.
And let's talk about Indiana State. What do we need to do to get the Penguins a victory in Terre Haute?
Well, Indiana State is a good football team. They're obviously well coached. I watched the Purdue game. That very well could have went the other way for them. And obviously they're a Big Ten team. The kids are playing hard. They're racking up a bunch of yards on offense. They're averaging over 450 yards a game there. Obviously Bell is a very good football player in our league, and he had 200 yards again last week. And Mike, the quarterback, Parrish, has been able to throw the ball well. He's got a group of receivers that he spreads the ball out to quite a bit. Offensive line up front's playing well. Center Lutz is a good football player there. Defensively, very active, move around a lot. Connor Underwood is coming off a big game. He had 4 sacks last week against Tennessee Tech. And, he's just an active football player. He's moving around, plays hard every single play. And he's a good football player, but they're very active on defense there and give you a bunch of different looks that you got to be aware of. And I just see a team that's playing very hard.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and open it up now for questions. Coach Eric Wolford, questions from the media.
To ask a question, press star 1. For questions, press star 1.
Coach, you did talk a little bit about your opponent. Talk a little bit about your team and specifically your quarterback, Kurt, having another sensational year. Last week was no exception.
Well, Kurt's a guy that's been around here for a long time, and he's been managing the game well, and he's obviously a tremendous leader. At the same time, he realizes that he has some guys around him that can help him win football games, whether it be at receiver, tight end, or at running back. And that's a big thing for him is realizing that that he doesn't have to go out and win the game himself. He's got to distribute the football where we ask him to put it. At the same time, when things do break down, he has the ability to scramble, keep plays alive, and make things happen. And that's what you expect from a fourth-year senior for this.
Thank you, Coach. And there are actually no questions in the queue, so we're going to let you go. But thank you for your participation this morning.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And we are reaching out to Coach Joe Glenn of South Dakota. South Dakota hosting Missouri State in Vermillion. It's the first time the two teams have met in Vermillion. Last year, Missouri State had a rally late in the game, scoring 17 points in the final 5.5, come back and win in Springfield. And we'll hold for just one moment. They're holding for the coach, South Dakota, sitting at 0-1 in league play after a loss at Western Illinois, back home for just the second time this season. Missouri State 1-0, winning its first game of the year and winning it convincingly against Illinois State last week, 37-10 in Springfield. Couple of conference notes as we polled for Coach Glenn. 4 teams ranked in the coaches poll this week, including 3 in the top 10. North Dakota State at number 1 in both polls. Northern Iowa at number 4 in both polls. South Dakota State ranked number 7 in the Sports Network. Number 9 in the coaches poll. Youngstown State, of course, number 22 in the coaches poll. 3 players recognized for their efforts last week nationally. Grant Olson of North Dakota State, honored by the College Sporting News, as well as Donald D'Alicio from Youngstown State defensively, and then Ben LeCompte of North Dakota State, honored by the Sports Network as the National Special Teams Player of the Week. And we do have Coach Joe Glenn of South Dakota with us. South Dakota, of course, hosting Missouri State in Vermillion this week. Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Let's get right to the questions, and the questions for Coach Joe Glenn from the media.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Jeremy Hellett of the Yankton Press.
Good morning, Joe. How are you? Jeremy, how are you? Doing fine, thank you. Well, let me get right to it if you don't mind. It's going to be a basic question. I mean, how do you get the offense going this weekend?
Well, just all the things that you do, just got to do it on Saturday. And we've got to catch better, throw better, block better, and all the above. We really struggled getting points on the board, and I think we're better than that. And at some point, we got to unload a little bit and get some rhythm going and pass and just click. What we're struggling with right now is we're putting ourselves in some good field position, either through special teams or interceptions, that type of thing, and offense got to take the field with the eye of the tiger and get ramped up and get it going. And we just fell out when we had a chance to seize momentum. And you got to hit when strike while the iron's hot. So we're hopefully working that direction.
Mm-hmm. And then along that line too, I mean, do you foresee any changes on Saturday?
No, I don't foresee any changes. You know, we're going to play with the best guy we got at quarterback, at running back, and do the best we can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Missouri State, what would you expect there?
Well, I think, you know, they're one of the teams in the league that still play a 3-4 defense. We see that defense all through spring ball, all through fall camp. That's one of the other teams in the league that runs it. So we feel somewhat comfortable working against that defense. And but again, I see a team that really put one on Illinois State, one of the ranked teams in the nation, and so there's a good football team coming to town.
Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Jim.
Our next question comes from Lyndall Scranton of the Springfield News Leader.
Yeah, hi, Coach. In this league, do you need a quarterback who just simply can manage a game and not make mistakes, or to win in this league, do you need a guy who can take it to another level?
Well, I think you got to have a quarterback that protects the ball, you know, and that's just imperative. And last couple games, the starting quarterback has struggled with that a little bit, and the hard part is he is captain of the football team. He's a terrific athlete. We see a better quarterback in practice than what I've seen the last week or so, at least at Western Illinois. And so I anticipate Josh to get better, to improve, and in the last couple of weeks we have not been able to execute the read zone and zone option part of our offense, and then that limits pretty much what we can do. So we just got to keep improving. I don't know anybody in this league or anywhere else in the country that didn't play a home game in September. That's probably part of the problem, going all over the country and riding on buses. And we'll be glad to be at home, get our home fans, and get our familiar surroundings. And it's homecoming. Dakota Day is a big deal here for our alumni, and we got to get ready and go play an absolutely fantastic game and see if we can't hang in there with these Bears.
As you look at Missouri State's quarterback, Harris, what are your impressions of him?
They're just getting it done, moving the football on the ground, in the air. They're guarding the football really well, and protecting their defense is something, you know, I think we all want to do. And but I just see a really good athlete that makes plays and good with his feet. And we saw, you know, what they can do in fourth quarter of our game last year. I think we had 21-7 lead, and they came back and got it done, 17 points in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Nick Gary of the Argus Leader Media.
Hey, Joe, have you made a decision on who's going to start at quarterback yet?
We haven't even practiced. Yeah. We take Sunday off, and we work on Sunday, and then Monday we game plan, and we'll have practice this afternoon. And no, we have not made a decision. I just about all I want to say.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Nick.
Coach, that was your final question. Thank you for your time. Good luck against Missouri State.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye. Let's get next to Coach John Figglemeyer of South Dakota State. Jackrabbits are at home on our televised game of the week facing Southern Illinois in Brookings. Morning, Coach.
Morning, Mike.
Let's talk about Southern Illinois briefly. What do the Jackrabbits need to do to be successful on Saturday?
We got to be able to run the football, which we weren't able to this last week, and I don't think any team unless your playbook says that, wants to be one-dimensional, and that's what North Dakota State's forced us to be. We've got to be able to attack the defense. We've had success at times. At times, they've had our number. So what that means is I don't know entirely. But they play the odd front, which we don't face a lot. And then we got to control their quarterback. I'm really impressed with their starting quarterback. I think he's a winner. I think he can do all the things you ask him to do. He's a good player, and we had trouble last week with a quarterback that could do everything. And so, again, we need to be at the top of our game. So nothing earth-shattering, but those are the things I think we're focusing on the most.
Let's just go ahead and open it up for some questions from the media for John Spiegelmeyer.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Todd Hefferman of the Southern Illinois newspaper.
Hey, John, you played two very good teams in the last 2 weeks, but do you look at you have to do some different things to set up the run game in your offense?
I'm not totally sure what that means in terms of the press. You got to be able to block to execute your run game, and we did not do that. You've got to be able to take advantage of the numbers game when you have numbers and you block them, and you have 3 on 2, and the 2 guys beat your 3. That has nothing to do with anything other than will and ability and technique. And so, to me, it's more fundamental than a scheme thing. You need to be able to block at the point of attack, and so that's what we're focused on. That's what our solution is. Passing the ball to set up the run game. I'm not sure how that works, other than maybe get the edge guy a little away from your formation.
Well, yeah, obviously, your linebacker Kilgore's had some nice games, and T.J. Lowry. But tell me a little about your defensive line. Do you think you're getting what you need from them right now?
No, I don't. That's a great question. That is really on paper and maturity-wise should have been or is the strength of our defense. And I think they're a bit frustrated the last 2 games, although our defense did play really well for 3 quarters. But they haven't been making as many plays as we expected, especially in the passing game. So, again, we're challenging them. Some of those guys are beat up. A lot of people now at this point in the season are beat up. But, there's nothing you can do. It's on the board. Our schemes are sound. When you come off the ball and it's a one-on-one, you got to beat them, and that's what we're challenging them to do.
And, there's a chance that the field could be, a little mucky, a little messy. Do you think that gives one team an advantage over the other?
I think if you're a dancing type of team, if you've got a lot of players that make a lot of cuts, I think it's a disadvantage. We don't have that personality in our football team. And as I watch Southern's offense specifically, I don't see as much of that. Their fly sweep or whatever you want to call it, we call it poker. That combination, there's not a lot of cuts to that. It's off to the edge and then make one cut and get up the field. The footing for the fat guys is going to be the same. So I don't think it'll be much. I think we're going to let it dry. Hopefully it'll dry out here a little bit, and it'll be in great shape.
You're not expecting the 50-mile-an-hour winds we had 2 years ago this Saturday?
I'm hoping for 20-degree weather and 50-mile-an-hour wind. No, on both. I don't. That's South Dakota. I can't say that we've mastered playing in that. It surely affects the kicking game the most. But I don't pay attention to I'm trying to block the 3 technique and tackle guys right now. So I don't pay a whole lot of attention to the weather guy.
All right, thank you, Tom.
You bet.
Coach, that's it for you. Thank you for your time this morning, and we will see you on Saturday.
Look forward to it. See you.
All right. Bye-bye. Let's get back to Coach Gary Allen of Missouri State. The Bears coming off of a victory against Illinois State last week, headed to Vermillion to play South Dakota. Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Mike.
Let's talk about South Dakota. The trip to Vermillion will be the first for the Bears in school history, and talk a little bit about the trip and the Coyotes for us.
Well, it's a challenge for us. We kind of snuck one out on South Dakota last year, to be honest with you. We scored, I think, 17 points in the last 5 or 6 minutes. And I'm sure they're anxiously awaiting to get home. We get to be their homecoming. And they did a really nice job against us last year. They had 25 first downs running against us, and that's the most besides what Louisville was able to do. So we've got a lot of respect for them offensively. Defensively, they're all over the place, but they're similar to us because it's a 30 front. So it should be good. It should be a great ball game. I'm so old I've actually been in Dakota Dome, but none of the guys from here in the Ozarks have been up there, so they'll be in for a rude awakening. It's a small dome, tight sideline, and very loud.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and go to some questions for Coach Terry Allen.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Wendell Scranton of the Springfield News Leader.
Yeah, 5 games in, how do you gauge Kiera's progress as starting quarterback?
Well, he did a pretty good job protecting the football until the interception he threw last week, and he's gotten better and better with that. He obviously has nice, quick feet. He's able to rush the football, and he's getting better and better each and every week. So, pleased, but there's still a long ways to go, but feel good about the progress he's made.
What about the way he leads a team as you need a quarterback to do? What have you seen there?
He's gotten much better with that. I think he's developed his own confidence, and when you have a little confidence, and then you can start telling people what to do, and that's been the best thing as far as the experience factor.
Obviously, when you're able to run the football, it makes it better for everything on offense, but how does it help him just kind of navigate that offense when you're able to hand it off and make yards?
Yeah, we don't have to put all the pressure on him to make the plays. If you're going to drop back all the time, or if you're running the read option or whatever, he's an integral part of everything. If you can step back and hand it off a few times, it takes pressure off the quarterback, and then you can use him in the play action game.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question comes from Jeremy Howick of the Yankton Press.
Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good, Jeremy.
Good. I had a question for you about South Dakota. When you run into a situation like this where they haven't really decided on a quarterback, how do you deal with that on your end, preparing for that kind of situation?
Right. Well, you really defend the scheme, and they do the same thing pretty much with both quarterbacks. So it's not a huge factor as far as which numbers back there. You defend the things that they like to do offensively.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was the last one for you. Thank you for your time, and good luck in Vermillion.
Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you later.
All right. See you. Bye-bye. We might be a minute ahead of schedule, but we're going to go ahead and go to our next coach who's on the line with us, Coach Brock Spack of Illinois State. The Redbirds hosting Western Illinois and Normal, Illinois this Saturday. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good. Well, let's talk about Western Illinois and what you need to do to prepare for that game on Saturday, and how do you come away with a win?
They haven't changed a whole lot defensively. They're the same staff there, and they're doing a good job with those guys. They're a veteran crew in a 4-3 system, and doing a nice job offensively where they've changed, and they have a good transfer quarterback. I think he's a nice, tall, big, rangy kid. Got a strong arm and can throw the football down the field, and the running game's been very good. So I think they're a very, very formidable opponent, and they're very much improved, I think, particularly offensively. They've done a great job. So, we'll have a handful.
Thank you, Brock. Let's go ahead and go to some questions from the media for Coach Brock Spack.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Kevin Capey of the Peoria Journal-Star.
How do you combat some of the growing pains that Blake has had at quarterback the past couple of weeks?
Just gotta keep playing. I don't know if there's any magic in a wand where you can wave it over his head and say, all right, you're automatically a good quarterback. He has a lot of great qualities. He's a good kid. He's really smart. He throws the ball well, but he has a lot to learn. And we've had a 4-year starter under center here the last 4 years and been pretty spoiled with that. And he's this guy's going to take some time. He's a good, I don't think he's going to be a good player, but he needs to play. You got to keep playing games, and unfortunately, he'll make a mistake or two. You just hope it doesn't cost you a game. But he threw one interception in the game on Saturday. He went to the right guy, just let him too much, and then we had a fumble hit on a scramble, and didn't see that coming, and then dropped the snap on a 1 yard line on rain conditions. But that's inexcusable. So those are things that we got to get better at. He's hadn't had a lot of snaps, and it's just what it is. So we keep moving forward and keep working on fundamentals. That's what we've done with our whole team. He's not the only one. We got a lot of new guys in skill positions offensively, and our whole front seven on defense is basically new outside of Coleman or the Wood, so at least first-year starters. So we got a lot of young guys out here. We just got to keep pounding fundamentals right now and work on getting better every Saturday.
Thanks.
You bet.
Again, to ask a question, press *1. Our next question comes from Jeff Kolpak of the Fargo Forum.
Good morning, Brock.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Thank you. The expanded playoff format, is that something that can help slow starting teams out of the gate here?
We hope. We were in 2011, which I thought was our best team. Last year's team was the best record I've had since I've been here, but our 11 team I thought was our best performing team. We were 2-3 out of the chute, so we made a run and won 7 games, and thought we put ourselves in position to get in the playoffs. But it didn't happen for us. But maybe a team like that would be there'd be a lot of consideration, especially out of the Valley. I don't know how you don't take a 7-4 team out of the Valley, particularly if we're playing well at the end of the season. I think your point about playing well at the end of the second half of the season is important. And if you're showing upside, if you're 7-4 in the Valley, I think you play your way in my opinion. But I don't make all those decisions. But that's I'm very biased to the league. I think it's an outstanding league and with very good coaches and very good players. So I think it's. If you're a 7-4 team and playing well in the second half of the season, I think you deserve to be in the playoffs.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Coach, if you could speak to turnovers and what Western Illinois has done this season is take care of the ball. They have a +2 per game turnover differential, and they have not fumbled yet. So talk a little bit about Western's proficiency on taking care of the ball and the importance of that.
Well, any offense, that's going to be an emphasis. We obviously emphasize that here too, and that's been our bugaboo. That's been what's cost us losses here early in the season. We've turned the ball over, and haven't been able to, produce a lot of turnovers defensively, which we've had in the past. So, obviously turnover ratio. If you have one statistic that really is the most valid statistic in football is turnover ratio. And that leads to success in the field. So it's imperative that you protect the ball and possess the ball and not turn it over. And they've done a very good job of that. And if you don't turn it over, you're not gonna. There's no extra possessions for the defense to defend. And unfortunately, we've had to deal with that here, and we're not dominant defense right now, and to be able to survive a multi-turnover game, especially in a half. So, those are things that that you have to really, really emphasize, and almost all coaches do. Some years it seem to, particularly when you're not as experienced, maybe at certain positions, you don't take care of the ball. But they got a redshirt freshman quarterback too, who's assistant for the first time. He's done a great job protecting the ball. So that's what you have to do, and there's no doubt about it. So you just emphasize it and keep working on it and practice, and that's all you can do.
Coach, thank you so much for your time this morning.
You bet. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
As we mentioned, Western Illinois playing at Illinois State, and we do have Coach Bob Nielsen of Western Illinois with us. Morning, Coach.
Morning, Mike.
As you come off of a conference opening victory against South Dakota last week, 24-10 that score, and you headed to a hostile environment at Northern Illinois, the Redbirds coming off of a loss and a very good football team. Talk a little bit about the game on Saturday and what you need to do to be successful.
Well, I think you said it. They're a very good football team. They've got really good players, exceptionally well coached. be a great challenge for us. Coming off of a game this week. Anytime you can win a game in the Valley against the competition that you play week in, week out, it's a good thing. And we got one last week. We got to be better. We got to be a better football team this week, though.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and go to some questions from the media for Coach Bob Nielsen.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Kevin Capey of the Peoria Journal-Star.
How do you sort of tailor things with a young freshman quarterback? Do you dial down a little bit the offense, or how much do you really give Trenton here this week?
We try to give him as much as we can. At the same time, I think anytime you're working with inexperienced quarterbacks, you got to be careful. I didn't think he played exceptionally fast Saturday, and we've got to get more production, out of that position. So, you try to do as much as you can, but yet simplify it enough that he's confident in what he's doing. And this week, against Illinois State's defense, we've got to have enough in that obviously you can attack them at the same time. If you got to keep it simple enough that you can execute well, because if you don't execute well, it's going to be a long day.
Thanks.
Again, to ask a question, press star 1.
Coach, if you could just talk a little bit about your team's progress report, if you will, heading into what will be the midway point in the season for you. Of course, it's just the second conference game, but how do you feel about how the team has progressed through the first 5 games?
I think we've gotten better. We still, have a lot of improvement to do. We're a really young football team, particularly on offense. Playing some true freshmen in skilled positions, a lot of new players, a quarterback. Ironically, I looked at our stat sheet after the game on Saturday, and with the exception of Nico Watson, everybody that was listed in the offensive stat sheet, receiving yards, rushing yards, passing yards, was not with our program last spring. They were all new players, so it just gives you an idea of how young we really are as a football team, and so we've got a lot of work to do. We're trying to find ways to keep us in football games that give us a chance to win at the end, and that's probably the thing that I was most pleased about last week. I thought we played really well defensively the whole day, and offensively we played well enough to put enough points on the board to win, and that's every game for us this year is going to be a grind. I can tell you that. It's but that's the way it is. I think in this league overall, with the level of competition, you've got just outstanding teams that you're going to play every week.
Thank you, Coach. And I see we do have another question in the queue for you, so we'll go to the media questions again.
We do have a question from Scott Holland of the McDonough County Voice.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
I know one of your concerns coming into the year was developing some depth on the offensive and defensive line. How do you feel that depth has developed? Because I noticed you kind of have gone in and out, especially on the defensive line this year.
I think we've got more depth in the defensive line than we've got in the offensive line. We're still, when you take over a program, you never quite have the depth that you want. Some of that's going to have to be solved down the road with recruiting, but we're getting 7 or 8 guys that are getting playing time in the defensive front, and we've been more limited in our ability to substitute in the offensive line. Although this week, Sean Sullivan stepped in and had not played a lot, played pretty well at one of the guard positions, and hopefully we can continue to have some guys, younger guys, step forward, and we could feel more comfortable with them getting more and more reps.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, that was your final question. Thank you for your time. Good luck against Illinois State on Saturday.
Thank you.
Let's go next to Coach Craig Bull of North Dakota State. The Bison hosting Northern Iowa this week in a battle between two teams not lost yet, and there's another such game in the FCS with Lehigh facing Fordham. Only 12 teams left that are unbeaten in the FCS. Morning, Coach.
Hi, good morning. We're looking forward to what is going to be an exciting football game. Got two really good teams that are undefeated, and I think a national marquee game.
Yeah, both teams stepping out, playing FBS schools and winning. And of course, you got the win at K-State, and Northern Iowa winning at Iowa State impressively in the first weekend as well. So talk a little bit about what needs to happen for the Bison to come away with the win on Saturday.
Well, in games like this where you have, what would be two evenly matched teams, and if you look at our statistics and players coming back and things like that, turnovers are such a critical factor in games like this. I think we're really going to need to take care of the football by and large. We've done a good job of that, but I think we need to do a better job creating turnovers as well, and so we're in hopes to win the turnover margin. And my perspective is I think that'll have a huge deciding factor on who's going to come out of this game with the W.
Thank you, Craig. Let's go ahead and get some questions from the media for Coach Craig Bolt.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Jeff Kolpak of the Fargo Forum.
Can you talk about the growth of Samuel Jerry over his career?
Yeah, great question, and I'm really happy to comment on that, Jeff. I think Sam has developed into much more of a complete running back, pass protection, receiving ability, reading holes. He's gained some really good weight, yet he's, I think, gotten a little bit faster, and so it's been really gratifying to see him continue to mature and improve as a football player, and he's added great value to our football team this fall.
You think he's running harder?
Pardon me?
You think he's running harder?
I do. Yeah, I do, Jeff. I think he's running harder. I think he's seeing the field better.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Again, to ask a question, press star 1. Our next question comes from Jim Sullivan of the Waterloo Courier.
Coach, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
You're going to face David Johnson this week, and of course you're coming off a game where you held Zach Zenner to, I guess it was, 8 yards, 4 yards, whatever it was. Just compare and contrast two backs. What does Johnson do that Zenner doesn't, or vice versa?
Well, I'll really talk about the things that Johnson has that we think are tremendous attributes, and we think he's a phenomenal running back. He's got excellent change of direction. That combined with size, it really poses a problem because you're looking at a back that can fake you out or run you over, and then the added dimension. I think he's an excellent receiver, and so now you have not only a dynamic back that can beat you with his legs, but get down the field and make a reception and go for a touchdown. He's got excellent speed, so he's a complete back, and they're different, but Northern Iowa was able to feature him and do a lot more things than maybe what South Dakota State is with center.
Was that the best defensive effort you've had at NDSU last week, you think?
Just off the top of my head, I would say so. We during the course of the game, we felt like we had good control of the game, and they're a good offense also. So, I'd probably say that. Maybe statistically, that would verify that also.
And one more thing. One thing that Coach Farley remarked on Monday was that the confidence that your team is playing with. Is this team even more confident than it was maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, when they were playing very, very well at that point?
Mm-hmm. That's an X factor. It's difficult to put your finger on, but I think because we have so many seniors, we're playing with more maturity than we ever had, and that might lead to more confidence. If something doesn't go exactly right, these guys don't get too rattled, and I think the Kansas State game was a point of that. We gave up 2 touchdowns where we had lost receivers, and our guys kept battling in there and made some adjustments. So certainly our maturity level has helped, and that's probably led to we're playing with a great deal of confidence. And I think Northern Iowa is as well. It's going to be, I think, a great matchup.
Hey, Coach, thanks very much.
You bet.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Kevin Capey of the Peoria Journal-Star.
Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
When you look at Brock's development in his 4 years, was there a point in his freshman year when it all just seemed to click, or was it just a slow progression?
Yeah, I would think, it was, strangely enough, I think we lost when he was a redshirt freshman out of Eastern Washington, and he had come back from an injury and played a very competitive game. And even though we lost the game, I think that gave him a great deal of confidence. Now, there's certainly been improvement. There's been improvement this year as opposed to last year. But I think after that Eastern Washington game, he saw that, this is, and they ended up being the national champions and had a good defense. And so he was able to go out there and compete. And I think that even though we lost the game, in my mind, I think it really solidified his confidence level that, I can play at the highest level in FCS here.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, that was your final one. Thank you for your time. Good luck against Northern Iowa State.
Thank you.
Good luck. All right, see you. Go to Terre Haute, Indiana, where we have Mike Stanford joining us. Indiana State hosting Youngstown State. Youngstown State coming off of a big come-from-behind victory against Southern Illinois last week. Indiana State coming off of a 1-point loss itself, playing at Tennessee Tech last week. Morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Good. Let's talk about some individual performances you had last week, both on the defensive line, and, of course, Shakir having another 200-yard game in his return, and then we'll open it up for some questions about this weekend's game.
We had, basically, in my mind, heartbreaking loss to Tennessee Tech last week, 38-37. Very difficult because we outscored, we out-statisticed them in a lot of different ways, and it was very frustrating and disappointing to lose that game. Shakir Bell obviously played very well, had 205 yards rushing, I think 68 yards receiving, and had obviously a big day. Mike Parrish, our quarterback, is playing well. The issue in this game is we threw 3 interceptions, and the turnovers, and we had a blocked field goal for a touchdown and a blocked extra point. Those were the difference in the game. Defensively, Connor Underwood, our defensive end, played very well. We got 1 interception. Phil Wilson had an interception in the game. Just a very frustrating game because we felt like we should have won it, and we're a better team than that. So anyway, we have a huge game this week. First conference game. It is our homecoming here at Indiana State. It is against, obviously, you've already said, Youngstown State. I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. They're a good football team. Probably the individual person that jumps out the most is their quarterback, Kurt Hess, who was the conference player of the week, offensive player of the week, bringing their team from behind to get a 1-point win against Southern Illinois. This was a game that was a huge game for a lot of our older players from last year, because this was a game that they lost last year and had they won, would have gone to the playoffs. So, this is a very big game. We're very excited for homecoming, excited to be playing at home, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mike. Let's go ahead and go to some questions now for you from the media. Questions for Coach Mike Sanford.
To ask Coach a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that's star 1 for questions.
Coach, the only follow I have, it doesn't look like we have any media questions. The only follow I have is the timing of the game coming off of a difficult loss you had last week. New season with the conference season starting, and of course playing at home. Good to get right back out there and get after the first conference game of the year.
Yeah, that's huge for us. We gotta find a way to bounce back from the last game, and it's a huge game for us. Conference game, homecoming. We're very excited about it.
Coach, and as I said, no media questions in the queue. We're going to go ahead and let you go, and best of luck against Youngstown State on Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye-bye.
About a minute ahead, but we do have our next coach on the line, Dale Lennon of Southern Illinois. The Salukis head off to South Dakota State to play nationally ranked Jackrabbit Club in Brookings, South Dakota. That game will be televised as part of our television package at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Well, let's talk about South Dakota State and the plan of Jackrabbits. Obviously, with their ranking, a very good football team, but they're coming off of a difficult loss against North Dakota State last week. But the trip up to Brookings is always a very big challenge for anybody to go through. Talk a little bit about the game on Saturday for us.
Well, we're excited, get another shot against the ranked team, and we're coming off of a frustrating loss ourselves, and we think we're a good football team, and we just got to find a way to finish it off, finish that one extra play to make the difference. And South Dakota State plays a very familiar style. That's what Coach Stiegelmeier's been doing that for many years now at South Dakota State. They're very aggressive, very physical. They want to establish the run game on you. They're patient with everything they do. They're plus 11 in the turnover margin list, so they just don't make many mistakes. So if you're going to beat them, you got to beat them. They're not going to give anything to you. So that's the challenge for us, and that's something we're excited to have that opportunity to go up and play the game.
Thank you, Dale. Let's open it up for some questions for Coach Dale Lennon of Southern Illinois.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Terry Vanderbeck of the Argus Leader Media.
Coach, some more tight losses for you early this season. Any common factors, or has each one been a little different?
The common factor is we've lost it at the end, and it's just making that one play, and now that one play can be in a lot of different forms, but it's just frustrating when you're just one play short, and then to combine playing South Dakota State this week with their loss the way we lost to them last year too, same scenario. They make that last drive and score with 7 seconds left to beat us here. That's our big hurdle that we need to get over, is just find a way to win those close games, to close them, and that's frustrating when you're just so close. And we know we're a good football team. We know we got the players that can play the game. We think we're capable of being a top-ranked team, but we just haven't won the games to get any credit for it. So that's what we got to work towards.
North Dakota State last week, shut down Zach Zenner in a way that nobody ever has. You guys don't run the same scheme as them by any means, but are there some things that you saw in film that are translatable to any defense?
Well, I was surprised, number one, when he only has 8 carries, that's going to shut down most backs. So, NDSU, they're just very solid, all the way through. You just, all 11 guys out there are pretty good. And what that allows them to do is they play a lot of base defense. So therefore, they don't have to stack the box to necessarily stop the run, and where other teams are kind of doing that hit or miss, they're either going to stack it and do a wholesale out to stop the run, and that'll open up the pass, and vice versa. If you trying to stop the pass and the run's going to hit you, and I think the key with the run game is just not giving up that big play, and that's what Zenner is so good at, is just getting that 75-yard run, and he runs like a fullback but has the speed of a sprinter, and so he can run over you and make that big play, and that's the challenge, is just limiting those big runs.
Sure. Talk about your quarterback, Corey Faulkner, what he's done so well to this point.
Well, Corey's, we've put a lot of time and investment in him, and it's starting to pay off for us. He's really confident right now with his game. He has a good core of people around him, so he's utilizing the skill that's on our offense, and he's just making good decisions. And there's still room for improvement. Our game last week, if he makes one throw, he just missed the guy. If he makes the throw, it's probably a different outcome. So there's still a level that he can get to that we're not currently at, but that's the encouraging thing, is I think we can become a better football team with each week.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep, see you, Terry.
Our next question comes from Tyler Merrim of Jackrabbit Sports.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Tyler. Doing well.
Hey, I wanted to ask about your defense a little bit. And again, just looking at the numbers, they've been very good against the rush this year. The pass, not quite as good. I'm sure some of that's who you're playing. But just discuss your defense and how they performed in the first 4 or 5 games.
Well, I think, you hit it right on the head there. It's a little bit of who we've been playing. Eastern Illinois, just looking what they're doing to other teams, the numbers that they're putting up. At the time, we thought we were very poor performance against them, but in reality, we probably have done as well as anybody as far as defending the pass against them. So, statistics I try not to get too uptight about. It's just that final result that you really got to focus on, and it's finding a way to win a game at the end. We've been pretty solid against the run. That's the thing that we probably hang our hat on with the defensive schemes that we play. We want to be strong against the run, and I think to be successful in the North Central Conference, that's a key element. So, but at the same time, we had some issues with short yardage this past week, and there's things that we still need to get better with their defensive package, and we're working hard to find those combinations.
You got a tight end in Michael Pruitt, who's one of the best in the conference. Can you discuss his talents a little bit, and also how he's doing after that last play at Youngstown?
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to get on the practice field yet, so I can't answer that last question on how he's doing. We're hopeful that he'll be available, but until you go through a full week, you just don't know how it will present itself. And he's just a all-around good tight end, fullback, receiver. We use him in all those capacities. He'll be in the backfield. He'll be on the line as a tight end. He'll be out wide as a receiver. And, he just has the skills that allows him to do, all those different elements. So, he's one of our best players on the team, and we have to find ways to get him the football. And usually if we're getting him the ball, we're having some success offensively. So, that's something, if he's not available for us, then we'll have to have other guys step up and pick up that role.
Last question for you. When you've watched SDSU defensively, they've had a lot of highs and a lot of lows. They played really well for 2 quarters. They've been down. They struggled at Nebraska. They played pretty well on Saturday. What jumps out to you when you've watched the Jackrabbit defense?
Well, yeah, I don't even put the Nebraska, evaluation in there. I put a lot of stock in what I saw against the North Dakota State evaluation, and they're just tough. I mean, they play a hard-nosed, physical-style defense that's old school, and they're just assignment sharp. They don't make mistakes. They're where they need to be to make a play, and I like watching that style of defense. So it's going to be a challenge for us to have success moving the ball on them.
Coach, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that was your final question. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you in Brookings.
Very good. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye. We have Coach Mark Bartley of Northern Iowa with us. The Panthers, of course, heading to play North Dakota State in Fargo this weekend. Morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good. I can take a brain search and a look at the two teams playing national rankings, both teams unbeaten, and the national significance of the game, but certainly not a must-win for either team, both sitting in pretty good position. But talk about Saturday's game and the excitement that's surrounding the game on Saturday.
Oh, I think it's great for our league, and it gives our league a lot of hype too. But for us, it's a big game. It's as it is. It's a tough place to play and a tough team to play. So they're a great football team, and heck, they've got a great atmosphere up there.
Thank you, Coach. Let's get right to the questions from the media for Coach Mark Bartley.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Jeff Kolpak of the Fargo Forum.
Specifically, where are you, or why are you playing better this year than compared to a year ago?
Oh, I think we're probably healthier than what we were a year ago. We're coming off a couple. We were nicked up a little bit last year, so we're healthier. We're a year older. Even some of the guys that got to play last year, that because of the injuries that got to play a lot last year, now they became starters in their own time, and that's probably it. We're a year older and probably healthier.
Are you more talented?
If you look at the roster, it's probably the same talent out there. It might be different names out there. So, I always think we got good players, and we just got to be able to execute when we get on the field.
And what's it been like to coach your son?
Oh, that's been fun. It's a neat experience, and it's a lot of head coaches that have their sons playing for me told me it'd be a neat deal, and as it turned out, it is. There's some stress to it, but at the same time, when it is fun to have him out there and watch film on Sunday morning.
Finally, I think Johnson, he's split carries in the past, if I'm guessing. Being a feature back, has that been to his benefit?
Yeah, probably so. I think it is. We always deal with two running backs, but now that he's the guy and he's having success, I think it just becomes a little bit harder to defend because when he's in the game, it's 1st and 10 or 3rd and long or 2nd and 5. It doesn't matter. So it's more of a run your offense and have him be a part of every phase of the offense. So you're gonna have to defend him one way or the other, and hopefully we can have enough balance that we can spread the field.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Brian Shawn of the NBC North Dakota Sports Network.
Hey, Coach. I was just looking at these two teams over the years, and it's really developed a pretty good rivalry. Do you consider North Dakota State maybe your biggest rival right now in the league?
And in all honesty, I always stay away from the word rival. But going to what you said, it's became a great game. You go look at all of them, and they go back and forth. They're battles. So, whatever your definition of as a rival is, I know this. It's an exciting game to get ready for because of I always like to play real good teams because they bring out the challenge of the game, and there's no question that the ultimate challenge is North Dakota State right now. So it's how you define rival, but there's no question it's an exciting game to get ready for.
The one thing, Coach, I heard you say is it's exciting and it's stressful. Can you kind of explain what you mean by that?
Well, I love the challenge. The better the team, the bigger the challenge. And so you try to find a way. So, you try to do the best you can and prepare your players to try to overcome odds. So that's the challenge. That's the fun. That's why I do this. It's putting those things together. Now, the stress of it is, you got to go play them. So you got to... I gotta go get lined up, and sometimes your plan works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the whole thing. Yeah, if we knew it was going to happen, it wouldn't be any fun. So, that's the stressful part of it. You just want to be successful and you want to do the things right, but you're up against such a tough opponent that it could go bad in a hurry too. So, but again, that's the fun of it, is you don't know what's going to happen until you line up.
And then just finally, Sawyer came in, and he certainly doesn't seem like the game was ever too big for him as a freshman coming out there. And I know some of that goes back to some of the crowds he played in front of in high school and all that. But where has he maybe improved from his freshman year to his sophomore year? Where's he developed the most?
Probably his comfort with his teammates, and he's in a great comfort zone right now because he knows our offense, knows our coaches, knows his receivers. I mean, that first go around, you're just trying to do your own job and just trying to see where you fit in and just, see what you're supposed to see. But now he's at the level where he can, have those relationships that make a great quarterback. Not just the knowledge, but the relationships, I think, are important as well. And whether it be with your quarterback coach, your offensive coordinator, or your receivers and running backs. So I think he has all those things. That only comes with being around people and being around practice for years. So he's developing that, and that makes him better.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Jim Sullivan of the Waterloo Courier.
Coach, anything more on Breon? How he's doing?
No, we're still those things are day to day. So I do not know as of right now.
Okay, good enough. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks.
Coach, looks like that was it for you. Good luck in Fargo against North Dakota State this weekend. Appreciate your time.
All right, thanks.
And this does wrap up our weekly call. Thank you for your participation. We look forward to seeing some people this weekend and talking to the rest of you next Tuesday.